Hello, guys. Welcome here to another episode of oh my God,
Sunday morning tinkle.
Sunday morning. I almost introduced your show. We were talking about No Final Bell and the ratings improvements. So thanks for those viewing that for Jason and Marty, and
Yeah,
thanks to those viewing out of turn four. Glad we could put on good shows for you. So, we'll of course begin with our takeaways before talking the NFL draft. So, Jason, I'll let you take it from here.
yeah, mine's a little NBA heavy, but some big news. Of course, Miami Heat being the first play-in team to advance, but the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers, yeah, two play-in teams who probably shouldn't have even been there to begin with. The Lakers were very hit and miss. The whole thing with getting rid of Russell Westbrook and if Anthony Davis would be healthy enough for the playoffs. Well, they get rid of um, Ross. They got Anthony. They have Austin Reeves. LeBron's, going to be LeBron, even though he's kind of getting up there in age. But I don't think there's any limitations to LeBron James quite yet. But yeah, they are the first two play-in teams to advance to the second round after buying their way into the playoffs to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Taking down, of course, Miami Heat taking down the 2020 NBA champs, the Milwaukee Bucks, and then the Los Angeles Lakers taking out the Memphis Grizzlies. It's crazy. The Bucks were a heavy favorite to possibly get to the finals or even get to the Eastern Conference Finals, but the Miami Heat took them out. They do have a tough test with the New York Knicks, but to be honest with you, they might be a dark horse. The Lakers, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, they're sitting, waiting to see if they're playing the Warriors and Kings. Of course, I'll get to that. That's my last takeaway. But
I mean,
I guess go ahead.
oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were about to ask the question. So, my bad. Um, so I was gonna say I don't really know what to think of the Knicks, only because every year they do the same thing where they look good in the regular season. They put together a nice effort just to hit shit the bed in the playoffs. So I don't know. That's a series I think the Heat it's winnable. I feel like it's more winnable than people think.
Right. Well, to be honest with you, Jalen Brunson. The only good thing with the Knicks is that they have a guy like Brunson who has knows what it takes to win a playoff series. I mean, he especially last year with the Dallas Mavericks helping them getting to the Western Conference Finals. I never would have thought that one player would have changed the whole culture of the Dallas Mavericks, going from a three seed Western Conference Finals appearance to not even making the playoffs and just changing that team altogether. It's crazy to think about, but honestly, Brunson has done a very good job as a starter for the New York Knicks. Um, I'm wishing him well. I mean, it would be cool to see the Knicks get into the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, but to be honest with you, the Heat have a couple playmakers more than the Knicks do. I mean, yeah, they have Brunson, they have um, Barrett, they have Julius Randle, but the Heat also do have a superstar in Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, um,
Jimmy
Kyle
put the team
Lowry.
on his back, man.
Who? Jimmy Butler?
Jimmy
Yeah,
Butler, man. I mean, I don't watch the NBA, and of course, I am a Heat fan, but again, don't watch the NBA. But man, 60-point game. I mean, are
I
you
think no,
kidding me?
56.
Or 56, yeah. Are you kidding
Mm-hmm.
me? Like, I'm telling you, I mean, it was a Jordan-esque game from him.
By the way, speaking of that, it was actually the most points scored by any Heat player in the playoffs too, passing LeBron James.
Only fitting that Jimmy Butler breaks it, considering he's one of the ones that didn't like LeBron for the longest time.
I know,
I'm
but
sure.
and And also congrats to the Lakers. I mean, even though I don't think that if they really deserve being there, because I'm pretty sure the Lakers had to play had to win or I had two play-in games just to even get into the playoffs. The Heat, on the other hand, I think they actually beat the Hawks to get the number 7 seed or maybe the 8.
I
I
don't
can't remember.
remember.
But
So
I mean, either way, congratulations to both teams. I'm going to get on to my second takeaway here. We talked about Becky Hammon in the past about getting a coaching opportunity. Well, it might, maybe fingers crossed, it might come to fruition that Becky Hammon, the current Las Vegas Aces coach, who just won a WNBA title with the Las Vegas Aces, is the Raptors are looking to interview Becky Hammon for the vacant head coaching gig. And if that was to be the case, that would be huge. She's got mentored by Greg Popovich, went on to the WNBA to win a championship. What better way to do it in the NBA? Because you want to see anybody learn by the tutelage of a couple of great coaches that won championships. I mean, for instance, look at Steve Kerr. I know we give the Warriors a lot of hate and whatnot, but Steve Kerr has been mentored by Phil Jackson and Greg Popovich, and look where he has been as a player as well as a coach, winning multiple championships. Becky Hammon has been mentored by Greg Popovich, went on to the WNBA and won a championship. So who's to say that if she was to get the Raptors gig, she couldn't? I mean, I'm not saying that the Raptors have the same team that they did when they won in 2019, but still.
And we had this debate on the show, I want to say our first summer that we were here.
Like
first or second summer. At least 2 of the 3 summers that we've done, it's been the debate. Or no, wait, this is going to be the 3rd summer. My mistake. So why not make it the 3rd year in a row? Becky Hammon, there's no reason she shouldn't be coaching at the NBA level. I'm sorry. There's no reason. She's, proven it at the WNBA. She proved it filling in for Greg Popovich, if you recall the few times that he got tossed for Tex.
I'm pretty sure he did that on purpose, to be honest with you, because he's not somebody that just...
On purpose or not, I mean, she's proven that she's worthy of a head coaching position. Mm-hmm. And I don't like the firing of Nick Nurse. I'm not going to lie. I don't like that firing.
I'm not either. Personally, for me, as a Mavericks fan, I wish... I love Kidd. I really do. But, like, if I'm Nico Harrison, I would do anything you can to, like, get rid of the Kidd and bring in Nick Nurse. Because Nick Nurse, at least, can help... I think would help the Mavericks in a major way, but I get it. You can't just toss out Kidd because he's still under a decently, under a deal, and you would still owe him money off of that deal. So I mean, it just sucks. I agree. Nick Nurse probably shouldn't have, but we go into the NBA is more like a "what have you done for me" recently kind of league, and ever since 2019, the Raptors really haven't done anything other than
it's
early round exits out of the playoffs, not making the playoffs at all. It just
there's a reason why the Heat and the Spurs have the 2 longest tenured head coaches. There's also a reason that Steve Kerr is still a head coach. And it's because those teams are not impulsive. The second things turn south, they let these coaches work their way out of it. I mean, and Popovich, if you forget his 5 championship seasons, he deserves to get canned right now for the Spurs' performance.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Popovich is just past his time.
See, Popovich
I mean,
died when that big three died with him
oh yeah, I agree.
Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili there. I mean,
He's got really nobody. He lost DeJounte Murray. He lost DeMar DeRozan. I mean, he's lost even LaMarcus Aldridge. He lost a lot of key pieces to even try to make that
see,
team relevant. You lost Kawhi. I mean,
he's
the list goes on and on.
he's the NBA's old yeller that should just be yeah, I won't go there. I'm sorry.
Well,
But yeah, he is old
yeah,
yeller. I won't go as far as that.
Greg Popovich. Like I said, I mean, I just think that he's past his
See,
time. I mean, he's done enough in the NBA. I mean, he's won multiple NBA championships. He's one of the longest tenured head
see,
coaches currently in the NBA. I mean, look at his wins in general. I mean,
and the other
not wins, but close to the most wins in NBA history too. Actually, I think he passed Don Nelson for most wins.
he's he's the NBA's Bill Belichick. That's about the
Mhm.
best way to put it. He's the NBA's Bill Belichick. Players don't Stars don't really want to play for him anymore because he's so old school and he's just not having the success, but the team insists on keeping the old band together, hoping that results change. But yeah, I was going to
See,
say there's a reason he's still employed, and there's a reason Eric Spoelstra is still employed by the Heat. And those two are going to die on their rosters, as far as I'm concerned, or on their teams. So I feel like unless you had a shot at Ime Udoka, you just don't pull the trigger like that.
oh, you know what? Actually, I forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, he's actually now the Rockets head coach.
Yeah. But again, if you had a shot at him and you talked him behind, well, you can't do that when you have a head coach because, he could be like, screw you, I'm out of here. But
Right.
unless you knew you had a damn good chance of landing him, you shouldn't have fired Nick Nurse. But again, I think Becky Hammond's a worthy replacement. I think Becky Hammond can turn the Toronto Raptors around and definitely make them a contender once again in the East.
Because they don't have bad pieces around them. I mean, if they can get the right kind of pieces, in the NBA draft and maybe in free agency after the season's over with, who's to say that, they couldn't,
Yeah,
because remember, NBA does it differently than the NFL. The draft is usually first and the free agency is afterwards. So,
yeah.
who's to say that the Raptors couldn't, get some pieces from the draft and as well as build through free agency? Because, I mean, you still have Fred VanVleet and you also have um, trying to remember his name, to be honest with you. But you still have some pieces. So honestly, you bring in a coach like Becky Hammond. Honestly, I think that might be the right move to turn the culture around and maybe get them to be a contender in the East again.
Hmm.
Uh, so I'm gonna get to my third and last takeaway. The Kings and Warriors. I mean, it's been kind of a very rocky playoff series. Warriors or Kings won the first two games in Sacramento. Then the Warriors won the next three games in a row. Kings forced, win Game 6 to force a Game 7, and now we're, Kings and Warriors, but this time it's in Sacramento. To the Kings do the unthinkable, and can they actually win a playoff series for the first time since 2004? And can they win at home and take out the current and the reigning defending NBA champions, the Golden State Warriors? I mean, if they can, that'd be something. But something tells me that experience is going to overtake the young bloods here. Something tells me that the Warriors are going to advance.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Mike Brown was hired from Golden State, right? He was Golden
Yeah.
State's assistant.
Yes.
So I agree with you. I think the young bloods are in a little bit of trouble. But I will say, having Mike Brown, a guy who's learned a lot from Steve Kerr in the last few years. Now, again, Mike Brown, for those who don't know, he's not some slouch that, was an assistant, never had a head coaching job. Mike Brown's the guy who's led the Cavaliers, before. I believe he had 2 stints with the Cavaliers as the head coach in 2 different, time periods.
Well, I definitely know he was the head coach of the Cavs.
He was the head coach of the Lakers, too.
During the LeBron years before he went to the Miami Heat. And I'm pretty sure he was also the head coach that took the Cavs to the finals that year and then got swept by the Spurs.
So he was that coach. He also was the coach of the Lakers, I believe, the Big Three that flopped there.
Oh, no, actually, I think that was D'Antoni.
No, but I think Mike Brown started the season and he got fired like 8 games in or something. He got fired really early in the year, I remember.
It might have been.
And then he went back to the Cavaliers before LeBron returned. And then, of course, LeBron returned and I believe Tyronn Lue got the job.
Yeah.
After that, so, I mean... And then, of course, we went to the Warriors and the rest is history. But, the point is he's had years to learn, one, how to, stop Steph, how to stop Klay Thompson, I think. I'd hope he'd learn something, especially about the Warriors offense. I feel like he's going to have these guys well coached. And if he's like Sean Payton, he might point to the ring and say, you guys want one of these. You need to win 1 more fucking game and 2 more fucking series. Okay.
Honestly, I mean, if they can take out the Warriors, they might just end up being the favorites going forward. But, you still have a team like the Nuggets out there available. I mean, they're no slouch either. But again, if the Warriors somehow win this game and go on to play the Lakers, they still might be the favorites, even though they're a 6-seed team. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what'll happen.
So we'll definitely have to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm interested. Again, I believe that's today. It's Sunday, right?
I'm pretty sure.
So, but with that, is it my turn or?
Yeah, it's your turn.
All right, here we go. So, Jason focused all on basketball. I'm focusing all on hockey.
Even though you're one takeaway, less than I am.
Oh, I still got to talk about... I'll talk about the Devils real quick. So I'll start with the Devils and the Rangers, of course. They are battling for a Game 7. Right now it is not looking promising for the Rangers. Of course, I believe they're down 1-0, and they are. So, of course, the Rangers, they're in a must-win. If they do not win today, they will not advance. And that means the Devils will go to the second round of the playoffs and play the winner of the Bruins and the Panthers game, which of course I will bring up. Or no, wait, they would play the winner. What was the other one? Oh, they'll play the Hurricanes, I believe. So, and then the winner, the Leafs and the Lightning go on to play the Bruins or the Panthers. And the Bruins, by the way, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I do want to talk about New Jersey. And can I just say, what a remarkable run. And and again, we're still, at least a period and a half away from, at least because we're recording Saturday, we're a period and a half away from knowing if they're advancing or eliminated. But what I will say is, man, if the Rangers just got eliminated again after making one of the biggest blockbuster moves at the deadline to get Patrick Kane amongst others, tooling up for a Stanley Cup run, this is a bad look for the Rangers if they do not advance. Because once again, much like they were against my Tampa Bay Lightning last year, they were up 2-0 in this series. And now they might be the ones that drop 4 straight. So, I mean, and actually I'm wrong. We got 2 more periods, but man, again, it would just look bad. I mean, bad. So, but the Devils have just found something, and the Rangers currently on the power play, but man, they got to get Zibanejad involved. And I will tell you, man, Igor, the last 2 games has just been absent. He has been beyond absent in this series, so no doubt he's going to want to get back in this. And actually, the Rangers just scored. It's a tie game going into the first intermission, I believe. Kreider just got one on the power play. So, man, but if the Rangers do pull this one off, man, I don't think any of these teams in these 2 series are going to go to the Stanley Cup. I mean, how do you not survive against the Devils? And for the Lightning to have to battle the Leafs and be just that close to them and going against tougher Eastern Conference teams, it'd be tough. But again, focusing on the Devils and the Rangers, I think, this could be a Game 7 series. So, but I gotta talk about my Lightning now, and the fact that we could have a 3-1 series lead blown, but again, the Lightning have 20 minutes, they have to score, and they have to score twice. So we'll see what happens. But man, Morgan Riley, I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you right now, the top teams that I hate in the NHL, and it's just, if it's not the way their players play, it's their fan base. And without question, the Flyers and the Rangers top that list. The Bruins are on that list. And again, I think the Maple Leafs are on there. No particular order. But the Maple Leafs, oh my God, their fans, unbelievably horrible. And their players, just dirty hits, I mean, throughout the series. But man, then, we'll see. I'm hoping Stamkos can get hot, but the Lightning have held their own. We'll see. If not, it's been a good run. But we're on to the third takeaway, and I gotta talk the Seattle Kraken, the Crackheads. Okay, them Crackheads. What just happened?
Lost connection.
I thought you fell asleep for a second. I'm like, uh-oh.
I mean, I'm trying. I'm fighting.
So,
I'll fall asleep.
That's the perks of taping late night, guys. So, um, especially when you're morning people.
Well, I mean, um, yeah,
So
this week,
we
yes.
no, because I thought you were asleep. So I was continuing. We're still recording, but I was just saying how the Lightning, if they don't win it, it's been a nice run. If the Leafs win it, man, I'd hate to lose it to the Leafs. I'm sorry.
I
But
mean, I think it happened in sports. I mean, we see a lot of it, especially in hockey, where a team can be up 3-1 and then, you know, blow a 3-1 lead and force game seven and lose. So,
speaking of game sevens, that's a perfect. I was actually just getting into it. Um, the Kraken, the Crackheads, they have a shot at winning their first ever playoff series. And let's add in that it's their second year as a franchise, and they're going against the Stanley Cup champions, the defending Stanley Cup champions in the Colorado Avalanche. Unbelievable. And then the Bruins are playing the Frauda Panthers. And yes, I'm going to keep calling them the Frauda Panthers because they're frauds until they actually go somewhere and win a Stanley Cup. So they'll both play in game sevens. That'll be later today. And man, I want the Kraken to advance, but a year two franchise against the defending champs. I mean, I just like Colorado. Seattle gets out to a hot start, and it looks like, at least the games I've seen, Seattle gets out to a hot start, gets a goal within the first 3 minutes, and, it'll boost them for a little bit, and then it seems like they taper off. So I'm hoping they'll figure it out, but I really like the Avs in this one. Um, and then the Bruins and the Panthers. I mean, can we just talk about Linus
you would
Ullmark?
have to go with the Bruins. The Bruins are just too good of a team.
But can we talk about Linus Ullmark? Because Linus Ullmark is. He's been MIA for a guy who's going to win the best goalie award. He has not shown up in this series. And that should be concerning for the Bruins, who had the best record in the history of the NHL, the most points in NHL history. This is a bad look for Linus. And I'm here enjoying it. I'm sorry, I don't like enjoying people's misery, but he's not injured, so I can rejoice in the fact that he won the best goalie award and he's MIA in the first round of the playoffs. Okay. See, so how did leaving Buffalo work out for you, Linus? Does it feel like, you made a huge mistake, that you made a giant fuck up? I mean, it all worked out for Buffalo anyway. They got Levi, but man, needless to say, a fun hockey playoffs, a fun NBA playoffs so far, and we got a lot more to come in the next 2 months because we're nowhere near finished. But here's the point where we normally take our anchor break. We're not going to do that because, once again, for those who didn't tune in last week, Spotify decided it was time to stop sponsoring podcasts that don't hit a certain listener number. So we have no ads, no revenue. We're poor. I'm kidding. We're totally fine for now. But hey, if anybody wants to sponsor us, I mean, I've said it jokingly for 2 years, but seriously, if anybody wants to sponsor, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. There's our social medias on the bottom. We'll record some ads for your company. You know, um, hey, gotta try,
Exactly.
right? Gotta try
Right.
recruiting.
We do.
And don't worry, we won't say anything cancelable just yet. I mean, I've already kind of flirted with it a few times, but hey, if you're not testing the waters, I'm kidding. All right. But yeah, so right below Jason at Tinkle Sports, check it out. Um, so with that, let's move on to the NFL draft.
hmm
Um, to no one's surprise, the Panthers took Bryce Young number one. CJ Stroud then went to the Texans, and the Texans did a flex in the draft. I mean, the third pick came up. It was the Arizona Cardinals. They made a deal to take the number 3 pick away, and then they drafted what was his name? Cunningham or
Um, they drafted that like linebacker. It was I think Will Anderson or something like that.
yeah, Will Anderson. That's it. So remarkable move. Ohio State quarterback though, Alabama linebacker. That's a good one. Anthony Richards.
Honestly, if I'm looking at quarterbacks here, I think Richardson might just be the better of the two.
I find it tough to back any Ohio State or Alabama quarterback, but Frank Reich.
Richardson just has a lot more upside of a quarterback. I mean, he's somebody that can get out of the pocket and throw on a run, which is something you need in today's NFL. He's got a strong arm. He kind of reminds me of like I don't know, like a black version of Josh Allen. Like what I mean is like somebody that can get away from contact, throw on the run. I mean, there's the video that resurfaces where a defender is going after him. He spins out and throws and connects the pass touchdown. So I think Richardson in maybe a perfect world probably should have been more so the first overall pick than any of the other guys, but that's just me.
Hmm,
Usually Alabama weighs over Florida. Any day of the week, it's usually,
It's
Alabama and Ohio State are usually the top two schools out there. So
it,
I would say that the Colts got very lucky to get a guy like Richardson in their program. I think he's somebody that can really help out. And look at the last few first round draft picks, quarterback wise, for the Colts. It was Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. And both of them have had some pretty good careers in Indianapolis. Of course, Andrew Luck's got cut short because of injury, but look at Peyton Manning, Hall of Fame career.
yeah.
Andrew Luck had success in Indianapolis, so hopefully, if it stands true, Anthony Richardson, might just as well.
Hmm. I mean, going to Bryce Young. I mean, he landed with the perfect quarterback. A perfect head coach who's been a mildly successful quarterback in his career, an
hmm
accomplished offensive coordinator, of course, the Super Bowl with the Eagles. Um, you know, I feel like this is a system. I don't know if Bryce Young could be a top 10 quarterback, but I feel like he can really rejuvenate this Panthers roster. Um, I feel like he's with the right coach at the right place. Um, you know, and then CJ Stroud. I mean, that one's a tough one because, Justin Fields, I'm sorry, I'm in the minority. I just don't think he's worked out for the Bears so far.
I mean,
And
if you look at the Texans, yeah, they got a guy like Stroud and they got a guy like Anderson. But the problem is that they have absolutely no receivers at all.
They just
So I
traded
think
Brandon Cooks too.
exactly that's what I'm saying. Like the Texans, it's gonna be a rebuilding kind of like let this all kind of play out type of thing. If you're Houston, you try doing as much as you can to pick up as many draft picks as you can heading forward and just build through the draft because I don't see the Texans being all that good of a team.
I
And I feel
just
bad for Stroud. I really do because I want to see these quarterbacks having success, but I just don't see it being on Houston at all. Panthers, Bryce Young might have some success. I mean, I would think that he's going to be a day one starter for the Panthers, but
see. This is the
it's
first
going to be a
time
tough
though that I think
situation.
the top three quarterbacks coming in, besides the Herbert, Burrow, and Hurts class,
Hmm.
or Herbert, Burrow, Tua class, where you're going to have at least two of those quarterbacks starting right away. I mean, Bryce Young is without a doubt day one starter.
Oh yeah,
CJ Stroud by default because, I mean, the next best quarterback on that roster is Davis Mills, and he's just not at all a franchise quarterback.
and again, I mean, who knows?
But, I mean, but also
I mean,
Stroud does have Damian Pierce to take the load off of him. Of course, Pierce is going to have to get over what was a bad second half of the season.
right.
And then for Richardson, I mean, Richardson might be set for the most success out of these three to
That's what I'm
start.
saying.
I mean, again, Jonathan Taylor. The receivers are okay, Pittman and others, but again, all he needs is Taylor in the backfield to take the pressure off of him. Um,
So
but we got to talk about our teams because our teams made some moves. Of course, Chargers, they took TCU's Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver. Then the Bills, well, if you recall last show, this is the guy I wanted for the Chargers, and the Bills took him
hmm,
a few picks later than us. So they took Dalton Kincaid, the tight end from Utah. I hope that's right.
yeah, tight end from Utah. You're right.
Man,
Yeah,
so
honestly, the pick for a tight end seems very shocking because like the Bills, you would think, were they really in the market for a tight end? I think they were just looking to get anybody that they were the main thing that they were going to do with the first round draft pick was they were going to pick the best available player at what they chose. And they moved up two spots to go and grab him too. They wanted to get him over the Dallas Cowboys because they knew at 27 they were like, nope, we're definitely not going to be able to get that kind of player.
yeah,
And they knew that they had to do something because all the top receivers were coming off the board. I think 4 picks in a row.
yeah,
So they had no choice to have to move up. They're like, if we're going to get anybody that's going to bolster this offense, we need to go up and trade up and get our guy. And I watched the video when they made the trade with Jacksonville. That immediately they're like, we're going to get Kincaid.
mhm,
That's exact words from Brandon Beane. So I think that there's a lot of upside. I mean, they're saying that he's like the top tight end of the draft. And honestly, to pair him up with a guy like Dawson Knox, who has built from the ground up, very rocky his very first year, but ever since then has improved. Um, what better way for Dalton Kincaid to be able to take the pressure off of Dawson Knox? You know,
More
being a
like
red.
it take the pressure off of Diggs.
That's true too.
I think
Um,
that's the bigger concern is taking the pressure off of Diggs. I mean, I like Dawson Knox. I just don't see him as a top tight end in the league.
I will say that I think Kincaid can be like utilized like a Rob Gronkowski, like a Travis Kelsey, somebody that can be you know slotted, put in a slot, and be able to be a top target, a red zone threat. Um, Dawson Knox, yes, he had a very rocky season last season, but if you look at the season he had beforehand, it was good. I think this is going to help Dawson Knox too, because you know if a lot of teams are focused on the new guy, I mean they're going to be focused on Diggs 100%. But adding a weapon like this is going to help Josh Allen 100%, because if he has if he doesn't have Diggs available, if he doesn't have Davis available, if he doesn't have um say Sherfield or whoever else available, you got Dawson Knox, you have Kincaid available. You have a James Cook, you have um, I think this is what is the main reason why Buffalo went out and got this guy, is so then they can be able to compete with these top offenses out there. So I like the move. I was kind of questioning is like, why did we need a tight end? We kind of need linebacker. We kind of need some offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, ultimately, yes, they did grab him. They got a guard in the 59th pick. Originally, I guess he was slotted to be a first rounder, and he dropped to the 59th pick in the second round. So, seems like to me it was a steal for the Buffalo Bills getting him. And then also they got a guy, to me, that looked like a smaller version of Tremaine Edmonds. 6'1", 220 pounds. From looking at his college tape, he looks like he's able to get off the ball fast, chase after guys really well. I think that's what you kind of need in a linebacker, somebody that's got some speed. I'm not saying that they're personally going to go after the quarterback, because that's what you have your defensive ends for, but he's somebody that can be able to get tackles. I mean, if he can end up being like a Tremaine Edmonds, and Tremaine Edmonds was good at tackling. Same thing with Matt Milano. But if he can, what better way to be get mentored by a guy like Milano, like AJ Klein. I think he can be somebody that can come in as give these veterans some rest, come in and make an impact. So I like it. Same thing with the wide receiver too, for the Bills that they got in the 5th round. I think he's somebody that 6'4", that's some height for a rookie. I think that he's somebody that can come in and take the load off of some of the other receivers there, and also somebody that can compete for a roster spot too. So
Yeah, no, I agree. So I, of course, want to talk a little bit about Quentin Johnston. I mean, can I? Oh my gosh, the Chargers are gonna have the Twin Towers on offense now. Quentin Johnston, a very similar receiver to Mike Williams, by the way. Okay, deep downfield guy. Um, he's like 6'3", 208 pounds. Um, and again, the height, the vertical is what gets me. Now, I had said, please, for the love of God, don't draft another offensive lineman, because that's been our strategy ever since we drafted Justin Herbert. And, offensive line is still a need. definitely, at least for the backups, because Storm Norton and others, oh my gosh, they were horrible this year. But Quentin Johnston was a good pickup. Again, I really wanted Dalton Kincaid. I think he was a better option. The Chargers needed help inside. Everett's just not the tight end there for the future. And I feel like it's been just duct tape solution for the last few years since we lost Hunter Henry. Um, the Chargers also got, and the Chargers really just became the TCU Bullfrogs there, by the way. Because this was
I
not.
mean, Chargers gonna be TCU, and then Philadelphia apparently is Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, and their GM is in hot water for that because he's a Florida grad. So, gonna be a fun time when you go back to campus there. The other pick, of course, there were two other picks from TCU, by the way. The fourth round, they took Darius Davis, who is a speedster. Okay, this is, I think, our first wide receiver that actually has speed to get downfield. So I like this pickup. And it looks like, he's a guy that can run in front, take a shovel pass, run it all the way to the house. Sort of like, I guess it's our Tyreek Hill without, calling him Tyreek Hill. And then, of course, and this one shocked me because I don't think this guy's going to make the roster, but they did draft Max Duggan, the quarterback from TCU, of course. I just don't think he's going to make the roster. We have Easton Stick. Correct me if I'm wrong, still might have Chase Daniel as well, and I'd say keep Chase Daniel around.
I mean, he might be there to be able to compete for a roster spot, so who knows?
The other picks, of course, much like you guys, we went kind of defensive after that. Tuli, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Tuli Tuipulotu from USC. Supposedly to be deaf for Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, who have been really injury prone. Then, of course, they got someone to go alongside Kenneth Murray, and that is Dayan Henley from Washington State, the linebacker. Man, again, I mean, defense is kind of important in the AFC if you want to have a shot at the Chiefs. But at the same time, you got to have the offensive weapons. So I like what the Chargers did. I really like the TCU wide receivers. I think that's going to be an excellent pairing right there. And if you saw last year when Keenan Allen was hurt, it was a steep drop in wide receiver talent. Now, Mike Williams did all right. Mike Williams did pretty well. I think he played about to his worth. But, again, he's just, he's a guy who's kind of, he's like, you think Batman and Robin. Robin's not leading, Robin isn't the superhero. He's the sidekick. That's what I think Mike Williams kind of is in this. He's the Robin. And now and then, of course, he got hurt. And nothing against Jalen Guyton or any of the other receivers, but it's just a steep drop-off once you get below them. Because those guys they're not good enough to be number one receivers. And then Parham, and Donald Parham, who I thought would be the tight end of the future for the team. He ever since that serious neck injury or back injury, he hasn't been the same. So that was the other reason for wanting Dalton Kincaid, but I digress from that because but ultimately I think both our teams did pretty well.
Yeah, I would definitely say that.
So I'm not going to lie. This trade was a massive surprise on draft day because all the rumors were linked to Derrick Henry and the Eagles. The Eagles just got another running back, and the Eagles just got a running back, and his name is not Derrick Henry. His name is DeAndre Swift. Of course, the Eagles and the Lions make a deal. So DeAndre Swift is now with the Eagles. The Lions, of course, they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, I believe, is his name. So, I guess what are your thoughts here about Swift to the Eagles? Up, I think he froze up again. Well, we'll see if he comes back. I'm going to kind of just keep it going because for the sake of not having to edit the video. Oh, there he is. All right.
I don't know what is going on with my connection,
So,
to be honest with you.
so I guess, so I was trying to ask you, my question is, what is going on with, what do you think of the Swift deal here?
Um, I mean, I think it could be a good move for the Philadelphia Eagles. It does seem weird, really odd that they didn't go Derrick Henry here. Especially with, after all the rumors about him possibly going there and being a done deal. But honestly, Swift isn't a bad guy. I think he can be somebody that can give the Eagles some speed, can, rush through there, take the pressure off of Jalen Hurts.
Hmm.
Time will only tell. I mean, I would think that Derrick Henry will eventually get traded away. It just might be maybe during the trade deadline more so than during the draft. So,
Well, Swift also has more years ahead of him. And let's be fair. Okay. The future really doesn't belong to Derrick Henry at this point. I mean, he's kind of just going to start, he's at that point in his career where I think he's already just hit the high and it's kind of just going to start going down from here. So, I do like that pickup, though. I think, the Eagles are trying to essentially say to the league, we're not playing anymore. Okay? We lost that Super Bowl. We're coming back stronger than ever. So, I'm telling you, it's going to be a fun season for them. This should, I think, hopefully put them in as a serious threat to win the Super Bowl. But we did miss one trade, and I don't know how we missed this because this was the biggest elephant in the room. Aaron Rodgers is now Aaron Rodgers is no longer a Green Bay Packer. He is now a New York Jet. So, man.
yeah, it just seems weird to see Aaron Rodgers, in a different uniform, wearing a different number. It doesn't seem
Back to the
real.
Cal days. But, man, I gotta tell you though, this opens a whole new can of worms. Now, I know a lot of people are sleeping on the Jets. I want to make clear, I'm not saying they're gonna win the division. What I am saying is they are now the biggest threat to take down the Buffalo Bills in the division. If there is one.
Personally, maybe. I just think that, Rodgers definitely took a step backwards last season than forwards. So it'll be really interesting to see if he can actually fit that Jets offense.
But
and if he can go out there and actually, put up wins for the Jets.
But here's the thing: his offensive coordinator's
But
Nathaniel Hackett,
if you look at that receiving core, it doesn't look any better than what he had in Green Bay last year.
but he has Nathaniel Hackett once again.
That's
Okay,
true.
and mind you, the last time he had Nathaniel Hackett, he won 2 MVPs in a row.
I will say this now, but he also doesn't have a running back like Aaron Jones with the Jets as opposed to what he had with the Green Bay Packers.
I mean, Brees
I will say
Hall's.
he does have.
I mean, Brees Hall is definitely. He's not an upgrade, but he's a guy who's. You can't really gauge Brees Hall yet because he was out most of his rookie year with that torn ACL. Um, but you got to think he's going to be a threat this season, depending on how he comes back. The wide receiver core is. I know you said it's not much, but I feel like it's better than Green Bay's, to be honest. I feel like, in a way, it's better than Green Bay's, because Green Bay's was the Devontae Adams show. So, yeah. So, I don't know if he can hear me or not.
I mean, I don't know what the fuck's going on with this, honestly.
Oh, man. So, I was saying that I think that this is an upgrade, in a way, for Aaron Rodgers with the receiving core, because I feel like in terms of quantity, it's up as opposed to quality. But we do. I don't know. Should we talk Lamar? Sorry, guys. We were having like really bad internet issues. I think he might have just texted me. I don't know. No. So, I don't know what's going on, guys. Think we just lost him.
I mean, I'm here.
Oh, all right. So I was gonna say, should we talk Lamar or?
Yeah.
All right. Lamar Jackson is now the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. 260 million 5-year deal, 185 mil guaranteed. Unbelievable.
Yeah, now the highest paid quarterback. But he doesn't have that fully guaranteed contract like he wanted.
I think at some point you just have to look at the market and read the room. So,
I think after seeing the kind of contract that Jalen Hurts had, he kind of was like, you know what? If you can give me something like that, I would be fine. I don't want, I think he, at the end of the day, he was willing to take whatever he could get and just, stay as a Baltimore Raven. And ultimately, it worked out because now he's the highest paid quarterback. I hope it's not going to bite him in the butt after all the fact that, So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Lamar can do what needs to be done. I mean, he has Odell. He has a pretty decent rookie receiver heading into this season. He also has Rashad Bateman as well. So I mean, if Lamar can work on his passing game and throwing, I mean, the sky might be the limit for him going forward. But something tells me he's gonna just think, well, I got my money now. I don't have to, really go out there and perform as well as they used to. So I hope the money's not gonna get to his head.
What has he done to earn the money is what I want to know, besides the MVP. I
Not really
mean,
a whole lot, but you know what? Honestly, at the end of the day, you just kind of had to just deal with it, walk away, and then just say, "Oh, all right, I guess Lamar got his deal and got his contract." And just, I guess we just had to be okay with it. At the end of the day, unfortunately.
I said highest paid quarterback, and that was being politically correct because he's more the highest paid running back in the history of any football league. I mean, the dude has no arm. That's what I don't get. Why do people get so high on Lamar Jackson? They're right to be high on Jalen Hurts.
Hmm.
But Lamar, I mean, I don't know. I
That's
just
what I'm
don't think
saying. If he
he's
can
worth
work
it.
on his arm and work on his passing and everything like that, it might, you know, play well in the Baltimore Ravens factor. But the problem is that who knows?
Hmm. Oh, yeah. But with that, let's go to Tinkle on this. And I feel like we got two of them, really. But I want to point out Will Levi's. He did not get picked in the first round. Did you ever see the pictures of his girlfriend?
Yes.
Of
And
just
the
like
eye
her
rolls.
like rolling her eyes every time he checked his phone and stuff. I don't know about you, but if I saw pictures of my girlfriend, if I had a girlfriend looking like that, um, I'd have to believe she's not my girlfriend. I mean, that is just a
I mean, the thing is that she got memed bad too. Um, but she wasn't with him the whole entire rest of the night. I mean, yeah, she was with him during those moments, but the rest of the night, she wasn't really in the picture. It was his mom comforting him. And then when you saw the video of him actually getting drafted by the Tennessee Titans, his girlfriend wasn't even there to begin with at all.
yeah.
So
Man,
makes you wonder, like, she don't seem loyal at all. Well, and trust me, with being now drafted to the Tennessee Titans, I think you might be able to do a little bit better than what you got.
I just laugh that the Titans drafted him after they drafted Malik Willis last year, but
Yeah, there's been multiple reports stating that they have given up on their third round draft pick from last year,
you're
and
giving up on the wrong quarterback. The quarterback you want to give up on is old number 17 there.
I would assume is still under contract.
Yeah, he is. But
It's all right because Mike Vrabel's probably going to get tossed, canned after this year as it is anyway. So what difference does it make?
probably, but we'll leave us Tinkle on this, man. Sorry your girlfriend wasn't that good to you. Then Antonio Brown.
Yeah,
We got to talk this before we figure out what's coming up on this week's rounds of shows. But, man, Antonio Brown declared he is a Baltimore Raven. The Baltimore Ravens did not declare that he is a Baltimore Raven. So,
yeah, he
Antonio
wants to.
Brown, take your CTE somewhere. I think that's less Tinkle on this as much as it is take your CTE somewhere else.
Right. Well, the thing is that it's been reported that he wants to get out of retirement, go back into football, and wants to play for the Baltimore Ravens. It just seems like now that Lamar has gotten that deal down, everybody wants to play for the Baltimore Ravens. But did they understand that even though, that Lamar isn't all that great of a quarterback, and that you're not going to get as many touches as you think you're going to get if you were in a team that actually had a quarterback that could throw you the ball.
Hmm.
But I digress. I mean, let him think that he can make an NFL comeback, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, what's coming up on No Final Bell this week?
Yeah, we have a new championship belt in WWE. They brought back the World Heavyweight Championship, but with a updated look. Um, we get CM Punk showing up backstage on WWE and then having to get asked to leave by Vince McMahon. And then also we got the Four Pillars still being involved with a World Heavyweight Championship. So definitely don't want to miss out on that as we talk about WWE and also AEW and ROH. So what's coming up on the turn 4?
Alex Bowman's injured. This is now the second driver injured while not racing in NASCAR. Alex Bowman fractured 3 vertebrae. So I'm going to talk about should NASCAR grant these drivers that are getting hurt in series not sanctioned by NASCAR waivers for the playoffs. So, and should, teams also prevent their drivers from doing these dangerous extracurriculars, So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Dover, the Monster Miles this weekend. We also got IndyCar at Barber. And of course, Barber is the last race before the best month in auto racing, because tomorrow begins the month of May. And you know what that means? It means Indianapolis 500 month. So we are going to hopefully talk a little bit about that as well. Tune in on Tuesday at 5 for me for Out of Turn 4. And then tune in Wednesday at 5 for Jason and Marty with No Final Bell. And we hope to see you back here next Sunday for another edition of Sunday Morning Tinkle. So until then, goodbye everyone.